Hi guys, before I get on with today's page, I wanted to draw a winner for my 5,000 subscribers giveaway. It was so nice getting to know a few of you a little bit better. So 96 of you left comments, so I am just going to generate a random number. And then all of your names and comments are in this spreadsheet, and number 37 is Tracy. So congratulations, Tracy. I've left a comment for you to get a hold of me to get your $50 Step Spot voucher. And now I can get on with today's page. So I've made a wee collage of some of the Netflix programs, films, whatever that we've been watching lately, and I wanted to do a wee spread with those. So I also wanted to do another page where I'm like just using these 6x6 papers, because again I've got so many to use up. So I've grabbed this pad here, which I have been using for all of these videos, and I'm just picking out a couple of papers, and I wanted a sort of darker one and a lighter one. So I've just picked two, and I'm basically going to layer those on top of each other. So I just cut off those wee branding strips first, and then just layer them on top of each other. So I was sort of loath to stick this one down because of the gold foil on the other side, but I mean, there's no point hoarding it, as I'm obviously never going to use it, so I just stuck it down and put the lighter colour on top. I wanted the lighter colour on top of the darker colour because I want to do some journaling on there later. And now I'm just putting it where I want it on my page and making some pencil marks for where I need to trim the sides off, which it took me a little while to work out which mark was for what. Got there eventually. And then I'm just going to make one more cut. I need to cut it down the middle so that the book is still able to fold. And now that is all cut out and fits nicely, I can just glue that down. Now I probably should have added a bit more glue, to be honest, like I was just slapping it down, but you'll see I have to go back and stick down the other side a bit more. It folds nicely, but these bits aren't even stuck down. I actually really don't like this tape runner. It's not, I don't think it's like a temporary adhesive, but it sure feels like one. And stick my photo down straight on top. And that's pretty much the base for my page done. Now, if you've seen my previous life hack for green alphas, I also did it on this sheet as well. Just completely smushed my StazOn ink all over the front of those green alphas, and now I have another set of black alphas, which is much more handy. So I'm just putting my title in here, which is not going to be Netflix and chill because we're an old married couple, so Netflix and snooze is more likely us. I'm just adding that in, and then I'm gonna go about embellishing the page, I guess. What I've done is I've grabbed out a whole pile of old dies. I've got so many of these little metal dies and I hardly ever use them, so I wanted to just grab a few that I thought I might use and start using up some of the supplies that I already have. So there was these sort of, I don't know what they're supposed to be, little banner shapes, I guess. So I'm gonna make them into banners. So I'm cutting one out of the biggest size to go, and then I wanted one to go on top, possibly in a lighter color paper, because I thought I might like stamp a wee sentiment on there later. So I just couldn't really find any that that worked. I thought maybe this sort of light pink chevron, so I cut a wee piece out of that and gave that a go. But once it was sitting on top of the other stripe, I guess it was just too many stripes, like too many different stripes. I didn't really like it. So what I did was grab the offcut of this piece that was on the floor, and I'm going to use that one. I sort of had wanted a different paper, but in the end this was the best one, and I guess it does tie those two pieces together. For no other reason than I think it's totally cute. I've got these little glasses, so I'm going to cut them out of a darker red because they are so small. They do need a sort of darker paper to make them stand out a little bit. And I'm just going to pop those just above the title, just for a wee cute element there. I'm going to glue those down with just my Martha Stewart glue pen because they are so little it is quite hard to stick down. And then these ones are just going to get glued again. I wondered about the back side of it, but I didn't like all the yellow it added, so I'm just going with the stripes. And I still feel like it needs something else, so I want to add this arrow in here, and again I'm going to tie in the darker red, that same paper I used for the little glasses. So I'm cutting that out and I'm going to run that through my diamond press. That's the little machine I'm using here. Very handy for these smaller dies. But of course, I've cut it out the wrong way, so I need to do it again, and this time I need to cut it from the back of the paper so that the arrow is pointing the right way on the red. And I'm just going to line that up under the title so it's sort of pointing down to where I'm going to end up putting my journaling later on. And now I really wanted to use the little asterisk shapes, so I thought I'd get some black card, but turns out I didn't have any little scraps of black card and I didn't feel like cutting into a whole new sheet. So again, I'm using my little ink trick and I'm just going to smush my StazOn ink. I did try that Memento ink first, but it didn't really work. So I'm using my StazOn ink, smushing that all over the card. I'm going to dry that quickly with my heat gun, and then I have a piece of black card that I can cut these asterisks out of. I don't need all of them, and I don't know that I've ever used these before because they're all still stuck together. So I'm just breaking those apart and grabbing 3, and again running that through the diamond press, and then I've got 3 little asterisks. So I'm going to add one up the top by those banners and just one down the bottom where my journaling's going to go, and I couldn't quite work out where I was going to put the third one, but I think I'm just going to add it to the arrow there. Just so it gives me a nice sort of visual triangle with those little black pieces, but it also ties in the black of the title. And then I've grabbed this really old Kelly stamp set because I knew it had a couple of stamps on there about Netflix. So I grabbed this one, says binge watching, which we definitely do. The whole stamp wouldn't fit across the banner, so I'm just partially inking each word and stacking them on top of each other. And then there's another one that says Netflix marathon, and I'm just going to add that on top here where I'm going to do my journaling. And speaking of journaling, that's all I've got left to do now. I'm just going to add a few little sentences about our Netflix habits down the bottom here. And that is the page all done. Do you often document some of the things that you've been watching or reading? Like, I think it'll be interesting to look back on these in a few years and see how our viewing habits have changed. If you want to keep watching, there's a couple more videos on screen. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye!